lemony stuff is going to be preserved lemons. I love to make these when we've got a surplus of lemons, and I use these all year long. Once you put these in a glass jar and preserve them and ferment them, they will last a year, maybe 2 years, maybe even longer. The very important part is to make sure that the lemons stay completely submerged in their juice and that no part of the lemon is sticking out of the juice during the fermentation process. You don't want oxygen to get to it. It could cause mold to grow and then it would ruin your whole batch. So to make these, first off, you want a glass jar. I don't like to use anything but glass. It's the one thing I feel that gets clean enough and it doesn't have any reaction during the fermentation process. So you just want to make sure you have a very clean, sterilized glass jar to start out with. Then you need lemons. These are just your typical grocery store lemons. You can use Meyer lemons, the ones that I've made previously. These are Meyer lemons because they happen to have them in stock, but regular grocery store lemons will work just the same. So to begin with, we're going to fill a container. You can just do this in your sink, but for our purposes, it's a little easier for me to do this here in a bowl, so I don't have to move the camera. Because you want your lemons to be very clean. So I'm going to put just a splash of vinegar in this warm water. And I'm going to guess that this container will hold probably 4 or 5 lemons. So I'm going to go ahead and just put those in our vinegar and water solution. This just helps get the wax and any impurities off of the lemons. So we're just going to toss this. And you just want to scrub these. And you're going to do this for each lemon you're going to use. Set that aside, and then you just want to get these nice and dry. So now that you've got your lemons all washed, completely dry, you got your clean glass container, we're going to go ahead and prepare the lemons. So with a nice sharp knife, you want to cut off just about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch off the base of the lemons. That way they'll sit flat. That's going to be important in the next step. So we're just going to take the ends off. So that they're sitting upright like this. Then the next step is you're going to take the lemon and you're going to cut it in 4ths, crossways like an X, but you're only going to go down not quite to the bottom. You don't want to cut all the way through. That's very important. Don't cut all the way through. Just down where there's about 1/2 of an inch, and you're going to open this up a little bit. Ouch, ow. Hang on just a minute. We're going to take a quick pause while I go get some gloves to put on. I've got a cut on my finger and that lemon juice is not helping. Okay, we're back. Now I have my glove. We're ready to go. So we're just going to do this where we're going to cut it in 4ths, not quite all the way down to the bottom. And we'll open these all 5 up. Now it's kind of important to have a few extra lemons. Obviously I have many extra lemons on this batch today, but it's important to have a few extra lemons just in case the juice you're going to muddle out of these in just a minute doesn't quite cover the lemons all the way to the top. You may need to squeeze a few extra lemons just to make sure the juice comes up over the lemons when they're in this container. So let me get my muddler being the plunger for my Vitamix. Now we're going to take our coarse sea salt. You can use kosher salt. I like the coarse sea salt, but I think it works best with a coarse salt. I wouldn't use like Morton's iodized salt. That would be terrible in this. Be too salty. But this is just a coarse ground sea salt, like a kosher salt would work also. So that's perfect for this. And you're gonna be very, very generous with the salt you put in here. So you're gonna open this up and then just coat it in salt, all 5 lemons. You want a hefty amount. Don't be stingy. Because this salt is what's going to cure these lemons. You want to put a little salt also in the bottom of the glass jar so that your container has a little bit of salt. And now you're going to take your lemons, put these in, and you're going to pack these up really tight. And this is where the muddler comes in. Because you're going to squish these in. You want to get some of the juice out of them. And also the salt's going to draw juice out of these. We may not get our whole 5 in here, but I think we can. You can see the juice is already starting to come up in the jar. All right, that was a face full of lemon juice. I enjoyed that. I think you can see those on, I probably got enough on my glasses. You can probably see it on there. So we're just gonna firmly, but not too hard, start pressing this down. Now you can see the juice isn't going to be anywhere near to the top. So we're going to get rid of this. Put a little more salt on top there. And we're going to have to juice a couple more lemons. These lemons are exceptionally large for grocery store lemons, which wreaks a little havoc with my lemon juicer. Which, by the way, if you don't have one of these lemon juicers, I highly recommend you get one. You just push the lemon in there. Keeps the seeds from going in. And get a really nice quantity of lemon juice. With these giant lemons, it can be a little challenging to get them in there. I think we're going to need a couple more just to get that completely covered. Now, preserved lemons are not exactly a normal part of the American diet, or things that something that people are used to using, but I use them all the time. Yesterday I made a recipe with ricotta that I put the preserved lemons along with rosemary and ricotta with salt and pepper. It's absolutely delicious. But I also cook this in rice. I slice up these preserved lemons and put them in rice while it's cooking with some rosemary. It's really delicious. We put them in lemon pasta. I use them all the time. And I'm gonna link a list of the many uses that you could do with these preserved lemons, just so that you feel like it's worth the trouble to do. But these are so delicious. Now they take 3-4 weeks to cure, sometimes 5 or 6. And I'm gonna put a recipe for this linked up that'll give you a little more information about this. So I think we're good here. The juice is covering all of this. One thing I do like to do is use a pickling weight which is just a glass disc. You can buy these at the grocery store or on Amazon. It just puts a little weight on the very top and keeps those lemons submerged. It's perfect for a container like this. So just seal that. And this is gonna sit in a dark cabinet, probably for 3 or 4 days to get it started, and then you're gonna move it to your refrigerator. One thing I like to do is put a little label with the date. So I put today's date on here. I have to think about today's date. And I just put it right there on the jar. That way I know the day that I made them. And probably in 4 to 5 weeks after this starts up, you're gonna be ready to go. It does take a little time and patience. You need to, every few days, or every day actually at the first part, you wanna turn this upside down, distribute it, and just keep it nice and covered. You're gonna let this sit in a dark cabinet for 3 or 4 days. Do this once a day and then put it in the refrigerator after 5 or 6 days and just let it sit in the back of the refrigerator until it's ready to go. And then you'll be good to go. And like I said, these will last a year, 2 years, a long time in your refrigerator. Hopefully you'll eat them a little faster than that. But that's really all there is to preserve lemons. Like I said, I'm gonna put a recipe on my website and I'll put a link to that in today's Sunday stuff. And you can go right there and look and get started on preserving your own lemons. Anyway, good luck.